everyone. Today I'm bringing you a cocktail from Marshall, Michigan. This is located at the Grand River Bar in Marshall, Michigan, right on the main strip. Really great place, great food. But they had this cocktail that they had. It really stood out to me, and I wanted to bring it to you guys. So I took the time to figure out how to make it. There's a few steps that you need to do. I'm going to walk you through those, and then I'm going to make this cocktail with you. So you can buy lavender syrups, but there's a really simple way to make them, and it's a really good syrup mix. It works well. I noticed if you buy the store brand lavender syrups, they tend to be a little bit too strong in lavender flavor or too sweet. This one is just right for this drink. So I'm going to take you through how to make it. It's super easy to make. We'll make one batch. It'll last you for quite a few cocktails. You're going to need 1 cup of water and 1 cup of sugar to get started. You can multiply this recipe if you want to make a big batch of this and jar it up, which I do sometimes. I make several jars. But for this video I'm going to do with you guys, I'm just going to show you how to make a small batch for making a couple of martinis. Here's our 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, and you'll also need 1 tablespoon of lavender flower or bud. And you're also going to use this to garnish the drink at the end when we're all done after we've made the syrup. I'm going to bring this water up to a boil, and I'm going to be mixing this sugar to get that to turn into its syrup. And then once I get that to a boil, I'm going to add this in, and we're going to continue to mix that for a couple of minutes. And then we're going to pull it off the heat, move it to the back of the stove, and let it set. You want to keep this moving so that sugar doesn't cook to the bottom. Now the next thing we're going to do while we're waiting for this to come to a boil is we are going to prepare our strainer so that we can strain out those lavender buds once this syrup is done and where we need it to be. In order to do that, we're going to use your strainer, some of this cheesecloth, and you got to have a bottle prepared to store it in. We're just going to take this cheesecloth, lay it in there like that, and we'll pour right through that. It'll work really good. Now one thing I want you to notice is as this gets closer to its boiling point, the liquid went clear. When we first started it was real cloudy, but you can see that the sugar completely dissolved, and now it's ready for the next step to add the flour. And it's 1 tablespoon of flour. So you have 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sugar, and 1 tablespoon of lavender buds. If you want a stronger lavender flavor to it, you can add more, but this is a recipe I found that works really well. And it seems to have just the right amount of lavender flavoring to it to make it just perfect. Once you've added the lavender flower to it, you're going to want to mix it up good. Get that lavender bud mixed into that syrup, and this will start to infuse that flavor down into the syrup. We're going to let that boil for just a minute just to get that syrup get a little thicker. And then it also gives that lavender time to infuse into the syrup. Now we're going to cover this. We're going to move it off the heat. We want to sit and let that cool for a while before we start to go through all the straining. That also helps that lavender start to infuse into that syrup. Gives it a little more time. So we're going to want to keep this lavender out. We're going to use this to garnish our cocktail once it's done. We're going to fast forward this a little bit. I'm going to show you how this strains. I'm actually going to get some syrup out that I've already made, and we'll get to making that cocktail for you. So we take a bowl. It's a little bit smaller than the strainer, so that'll hold it for us, unless you have somebody there to give you a hand. And you take that syrup, you pour it right into that strainer through that cheesecloth. lavender syrup. As this starts to cool, it'll thicken a little bit, and then what I do is I have a little funnel so I can transfer this out of the bowl into the container. There's usually enough left after the size container I use that you can make your cocktails with this. If you don't want to waste it, but it's not expensive to make. I'm going to spill this out, and then we're going to get going and show you how to make that cocktail. All right, now that you have the syrup made, we're going to go ahead and jump in and make this cocktail. First, you're going to need your martini glass. Then you're going to need a mixer, honey, your lavender buds, your syrup, your favorite gin, mine happens to be Hendrick's, and lemon juice. You can fresh squeeze this, or you can use this stuff, and then you're going to need your measuring shot. So we're going to add some ice to our mixing cup and get started. All right, with our ice in our mixing cup, this is a 1:1:1 ratio. We're going to take the big side of our measuring shot, and we're going to do one of these in lemon. We're going to do one of these with gin, and we're going to do one of these with syrup. To get started though, we're going to use honey first, and we're going to take and put this down at the stem of the glass. We're going to be careful to make sure it looks nice. You want a drop down there. You don't want a whole lot. You just want to, so it's just at the base of that glass. Then we're going to do our 1:1:1. Lemon. Gin. And our homemade lavender syrup. Then we're going to give this a good shake. We're going to carefully pour it in there so it doesn't disturb our honey too much. Then we're going to take our lavender buds. These are the same ones we used to make the syrup. And just take a real small pinch. You don't want to get too crazy here. You just garnish the top of that. That adds a little more smell to the drink, which brings out that lavender flavor, but there it is. It's a really cool looking drink. It tastes really good. That lemon citrus flavor mixed with that lavender. It really brings the two flavors together. It's really good. Recommend this for spring and summertime. It's just a really good all-around cocktail, super easy to make, and your guests will be impressed with it. So hopefully you like what you got here. Make sure you like and subscribe and check out the rest of my stuff. Have a good one.